Okay, good morning, everyone. Everyone, good morning. It's 8 o'clock. I'd like to call the August 8th Finance Committee meeting to order. I'll entertain a motion to permit those members who are physically not present due to personal illness or disability, employment purposes, or business of the board, family, or other emergency or unexpected childcare obligations to participate by video. Who made that motion? Motion by member Desart, second by member Childress. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. I think we have member Covert online. Welcome, member Covert. Can we have a roll call, please?
Member Cahill. Member Chaplin.
Here.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert.
Here.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans.
Here.
Member Galassi.
Here.
Member Garcia.
Here.
Member Guston. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Ozak. Member Rutledge. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu. Member Zay.
Okay, we have a quorum. Has public comment. The board has received public comment, or the committee has received public comment via our online portal. Per the policy, the comments were provided to members yesterday so they could be reviewed, and comments submitted electronically will be included in the minutes of today's meeting. And with that, we move on to Chairwoman's remarks. I just want to remind the committee that we do have to stop at 9:30 this morning. And I want to invite everybody to join us for the reception at 9:30 for the grant recipients. And I'm sure Member Schwarzy will talk a little bit about that under his report. Okay, so with that, we move on to the approval of minutes. Can I have a motion on 24-26-22 Finance Committee regular meeting minutes from September 24th, 2024. I had a motion by member Cahill, a second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. We move on to budget transfers. Can I have a motion on 24-26-65 transfer of funds from contingencies to where are we moving this to small equipment in the amount of $229,123 for laptop replacements to relieve pressure on the 2025 budget? I had a motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Member Zay? Sure. And then, yeah, can we have somebody explain this?
All right, is this surplus money? What is this? Because we do have a large purchase order for laptops on the agenda today.
Yes, we were able to reduce the 2025 budget by this amount because we do have additional funds in 24. So we're allowing IT to go out and purchase this group of laptops using 2024 funds.
My concern is that should be a decision made by this board, not staff. This is surplus. I mean, it seems like the surplus is, we haven't got an update. I'm sure we will today. It seems like the surplus is being spent without our input. You know, I mean, my concern is that, I mean, again, I've asked, I mean, in the last 2 years, we've bought 750 laptops and 927 monitors. I mean, who's getting all these? This is after we bought, I can't even want to go back and count how many we bought during COVID for everybody, laptops at that point. So, I mean, there needs to be a little explanation here and of how surplus is getting spent without us knowing ahead of time.
That specific line items under technology, the purchase of it under 7F1. Yeah, today, technology.
Right, it's under technology, but again, we're getting no explanation of what we're buying. I mean, the decision was made to send it to surplus. By who, I don't know, but it wasn't by the entire board, maybe by technology or staff, that's fine. But again, who's getting all this? I mean, I'll bring it up in IT, but again, this decision for the budget transfer is being made prior to this board seeing it. And surplus money is being spent without us giving direction on how the surplus should be spent at that point. I mean, I'm not against it. I just would like to know a little bit before what we're doing with it.
IT, I don't see anyone from IT here.
That's fine, but I mean, in the future, I hope we're gonna get, you know. explanation of how surplus is being spent.
Member, do you want to address that?
Sure. Since nobody's here specifically from IT, I just wanted to mention that, yes, this was discussed during technology committee. There was actually a long list of all the different departments that are receiving these new laptops and monitors and equipment. It's not just one department, it's actually like 10 or 11. And this is just part of the replacement program that we do every year. Basically, 25% of what we have is then replaced, and then in the next year, another 25%. So this was something that had been decided in the past, and it's more of an annual thing. And because Anthony and Richard Brinson talked with Nick Kottmeyer and staff, this was the decision. And it was again discussed at length in technology committee and approved there.
Thank you, Member Yu. Member Zay, did you have any other questions?
No, I mean, I'm not questioning the purchase of
Yeah, the
equipment.
process I
I'm-
get.
The process of why.
Yeah, surplus
Again, I
really.
don't sit on technology, and that's fine, and that's why we have finance that goes over everything. But again, the process of why surplus is being, and why we're taking burden off of 25 budget, again, is other departments being given this opportunity to use surplus? And if it is, then we should have a list, and that should come before this board and approved by the board prior to it coming to finance on different items.
Yes, no, got that. Good comment, Member Zay. I have Member Desart and then Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have the same questions. I see that this relates to the county board item 20A. So I do see that. My questions were, like Member Zay said, it just said company 1000 in the packet. So Member Yu did answer some of those questions. So my remaining question is this. It says in the packet to relieve pressure on the fiscal year 25 budget, and that budget has not yet been approved. So what pressure are we relieving from the 2025 budget?
So originally, we were going to factor these into the full purchase of all laptops. I believe the figure is about $600,000 in 2025. So to reduce the 25 budget and help it to balance, we carved out $229,000 of laptops to be purchased this year using contingency funds. We have done some of that in the past, but it's duly noted that the surplus really hasn't been discussed in full detail. Understand that.
And perhaps, as Member Zay said, we should do that. But I do appreciate Member Yu telling us that there is a process to resupply 25% every year, every 2 years. Do you know? 25% of our iPads and laptops.
Yeah, the laptops, we're trying to maintain a 4-year life cycle on our equipment so we can maintain the security and the efficiency of our devices. So we're working on setting that up on an ongoing basis, and that will help keep the budget flat.
Okay, and so that means that anything we bought during COVID has now served its 4-year lifespan, right?
We're getting to that point. So yeah, so we did a large refresh earlier in FY24, and then we're going to be planning to replace the next round of aging devices, but we're going to balance that out over the next 4 years.
Thank you. So this is on the in the contingency. Why don't we just budget for it instead of using contingency funds?
Well, we were going to do that in 2025, but again, because we're anticipating a surplus in 2024, we wanted to use some of those funds. Now, just in crossing here, I asked Richard if we can defer the purchase for 2 weeks. So if the board is comfortable with that, we can pull this from the agenda, the budget transfer and the purchase, and come back and discuss. We'll talk about surplus in my budget presentation.
Yeah.
But if you'd like 2 more weeks, I think that's a possibility.
Well, in the
Anthony's
board's
here.
but in the board's fiscal responsibility, $229,000 is not a huge amount of money. So I'm happy to vote on it now. I just, going through the board packet, I definitely needed more information as well.
Yeah, I think the risk if we do defer it for 2 more weeks is, we need to have that in hand by 11:30 based on our financial rules. So if we delay it, we might not be able to get them in order to meet the accounting practices.
Okay, thank you. I'm not going to make that motion to delay.
Okay, thank you. Member Krajewski?
I think if you buy it, necessarily you take possession by 11:30. But my question's a bigger, but the IT, my question's a bigger issue is that, you know, we're gonna have a little bit financial presentation from Jeff. The
Right.
financial presentation we need as a board is to show us what we've approved as budgets for the last 4 years, and then to show what the actual expenses come in. Because we come up with $30 million surpluses every year for the last number of years. Remember last year, we were taking pressure off of the 2024 budget, so we were spending surplus. Now we're in 2024 saying we have a huge surplus, and that's because the budget numbers are horrible. I mean, we're off, and all these departments were budgeting numbers that are just numbers that they never come close to. And as a result, we come up at the end of the year, we've done it for like at least 3 years in a row, with huge surpluses, and then we all start trying to spend it all last minute.
Yeah, as far as I know, we've had surpluses, I think pretty much since,
2020.
well, even before that, I think we've had surpluses throughout.
Well, I know
Not, maybe not as
2019
large,
yeah.
maybe not as
Oh,
large.
Clearly not as large.
But-
These last 4 years, they've been 30 million, 25 million. I mean, we're off tremendously because, and half of it's expenses, I think, I've still been trying to get that from Jeff, and some of the revenues, because we're not budgeting. We've seen, I mean, Jeff gave us examples of some of the department's histories over the last 5 years where they're not even half of what they budget for. And that's why we come with these big surpluses and then we're scrambling. Last year, we were taking pressure off of the 2024 budget by spending the prior year's surplus. And now we're in 2024 with huge surpluses again, and we're trying to spend it. And like I said, this board didn't even have any input, but if we get our budget numbers much more in line, then we have a whole year to start spending it on other priorities that this board may think is appropriate.
Right. And as I said too, that, you know, each committee chair should put this budget item on their agenda, and we should be going through those budgets right now in committees too. That's where we need to look and do the work. And I didn't see last at the committee meetings, I didn't see anybody put budget discussion on any of the agendas. So, I mean, I think it's very important that we discuss those in committee as well. So, okay, Member Glassy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to Member Krajewski's point, this is why I've been, and some of my other board fellow members have been pushing on seeing budget versus actual. We can't be budgeting based on the last year's budget. That doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
And so we need to get that information. It's pertinent. I mean, that's how companies prepare budgets.
Well-
And to be budgeting against last year's budget, that's why we're ending up with these large surpluses, because
Yes.
we're not doing that proper evaluation.
Yes, and we should be doing actuals. Yes, I agree. We did that at the water commission. We had the same issue. We were doing actuals instead of budget. So, Member Krajewski?
Yeah, and then you're gonna see the slide that's gonna come up, slide number 3. It's gonna show budget, recommended chair budget. It's not actual, which is exactly what Member Cahill, Member Galassi have been pushing. And that whole slide is, we shouldn't even have it. It has nothing to do with anything. And that's why we're having all these problems every year. Because we're not doing what Member Galassi stated.
Thank you, Member Krajewski. Okay, any other discussion on this item? Okay, and thank you, Member Yu, for the explanation. But I do agree that I think the board does need to discuss the surplus as a whole going forward. But I think this is a good use of this.
Yeah, well,
these funds.
we definitely will have that discussion
Okay.
later on.
Great. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Can I have a motion on 24-2700, transfer of funds from part-time help to furniture, machine, equipment, small value to regular salaries, employer share IMRF, and employer share Social Security, and the amount of $23,174 to cover salary adjustments for 2 staff members in ROE? I have a motion by Member Garcia, second by Member Rutledge. Any discussion on this item? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Can I have a motion on 24-2669 budget transfers from October 8th, 2024 from various companies and accounting units?
I'll make a motion, but I think we gotta pull one out. Is that correct, Joe? So I'm gonna make a motion and we're gonna pull one of the budget transfers out. So Jeff will tell me which one we're pulling.
Okay, so we're gonna amend the
I move to
motion.
Approve all the budget transfers. Well, I'm making a motion and approve all the budget transfers except the Which one is this? The IT?
Well, I have to have a motion in a second on the original, then we have to amend it, correct?
Oh, I'm making a motion with originally with it.
Okay,
Do I have to amend it or can I just make the motion without that one in there? Amend what? But can I just make a motion to include them all but the one?
yeah,
But we
take a
haven't-
motion on the original. So I have a motion in a second on the original. Now you can move to
No,
amend.
that's not what my motion was. My motion was to include all the budget transfers listed except this one.
Which, and remember to start had the second on that.
But that wasn't my original motion. To include all the ones listed under there except for this one. That was my original motion.
Okay, because member Garcia moved on the original motion
did.
and then member you second, then you came in with your, so we're amending.
I thought I
That's
was
my
the first.
understanding.
That's fine.
Which one are we, I didn't hear which one we were pulling.
IT,
Anybody got any Advil? I got a headache.
I know, right?
the transfer of $702,535. From, was that subscription IT arrangements to the IT equipment, 5,400. Jeff, can you repeat those?
Yeah, why are we, and why, yeah, why are we?
6C.
Can I have that amendment in writing?
I don't know.
So we're asking to pull the budget transfer that was approved at JPS for 65,000, and it's from Sheriff Administration to a grant fund. They're crossing funds, and we need to split out the budget transfers. So we're going to pull that and present it at the next JPS meeting.
That's my amended motion.
Okay, I have a motion and second on that amended motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Member Krajewski. Okay, so we move on to procurement requisitions, and I will call Member Krajewski for finance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on 24-2676, a change order issued to On Acute Consulting US Inc. Allow the changes to go live timeline.
Okay, so I have a motion by Member Krajewski, second by Member Rutledge. Any discussion on this? Okay, so this is our new HR system that we're going to be delayed about till next July now. Is that what I read in the January? Okay, because we're, okay, till January. Okay. Okay.
Okay, yeah, we just put it further out because we will get post go live support. So we put that date out further, but we anticipate the first quarter of 2025. We just wanted to have it so we weren't keep coming back to that.
Great, thank you. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member Krajewski? Oh, that's all you had, yeah. Okay, we move on to Human Services, Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on item HSCO 224, amendment to County Contract 718700001 serve issued to Carasoft Technology Corporation to increase encumbrance in the amount of $2,630.90 for the addition of 5 user licenses, resulting in an amended contract total not to exceed $29,050.90, an increase of 9.96%.
Motion by Member Schwarzy, second by Member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Schwarzy?
Thank you. I move on HSP 3424, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Pulmonary Exchange Limited for rental of respiratory care equipment for the DuPage Care Center for the period of November 20th, 24 through November 19th of 25 for a total contract not to exceed $40,000.
Motion by Member Schwarzy, second by Member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Member Schwarzy. We move on to Judicial Public Safety, Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPS CO-9-24, amendment to purchase order 5567-1 serve issued to Advent Systems DBA Allied Universal Technology Services to increase the contract in the amount of $75,000 for one-time parts and labor for cameras and access control equipment for new contract total amount of $217,080.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans?
Thank you. I'd like to move on JPSP 24 recommendation for the approval of a contract to Monterey Security Consultants for physical security services for the county campus and health department for the period of March 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2025 for a contract total amount not to exceed $1,352,612.32 per renewal option.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Zay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion
Nay.
carries. Oh, please show a member to start voting no on that. Okay, member Evans, please continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSP 26-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Real Time Networks, Inc. for the purchase of an asset tracer locker management system for the Sheriff's Office for the period of October 9th, 2024 through October 8th, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $93,524.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Zay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'd like to move on JPSP 27-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Verizon Wireless to provide service for tablets for the Sheriff's Office for the period of August 15th, 2024 to October 2nd, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $98,000.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSP 28-24. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to AT&T Mobility to provide wireless service for the Sheriff's Office for the period of August 15th, 2024 through July 24th, 2027 for a contract total not to exceed $404,000.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSP 29-24. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to AT&T to provide wired service for the Sheriff's Office for the period of September 1st, 2024 to February 16th, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $292,200.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSP 30-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Comcast Business to provide Ethernet service or the Sheriff's Office for the period of September 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2027 for a contract total not to exceed $162,240.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, member Evans. We move on to Public Works and member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair. I make a motion to approve FMCO 000124, Second Amendment to County Contract 6571 1 serve issued to Fox Valley Fire and Safety Company, Inc. for preventative maintenance, testing, and repair of the non-Edwards system technology, fire alarm, and life safety systems, and for 5-year hydrostatic testing and repairs on campus for facilities management for a change order to increase the contract in the amount of $16,260, taking the amended contract amount of $93,250 and resulting in an amended contract not to exceed $109,510, an increase of 17.44%.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Member Yu, go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I just had this quick question. I just tried to look in the checklist to see the reason why there is this increase, and I don't think it's specifically stated. So is there a reason why?
Good morning, Tim.
We, every 5 years, we have to do hydrostatic testing on our systems. We budgeted as a linear 20% a year. That wasn't the right way to budget it. We have a lot we have to do this year. So in the future, we were budgeted accordingly when in the 5th year, when we have a much heavier lift on these, when we have to do these state statute required testing on it. That's what happens. So,
Okay, I understand.
in the
Thank
simplest
you.
of terms, sure.
Thanks very much.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Garcia?
I make a motion to approve FMP 3624, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Train US Inc. to provide a preventative full-service maintenance program for the 3 electric water chillers to the power plant for a 3-year period, October 9th, 2024 through October 8th, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $406,619.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FMP 3724, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Nightport Gas for natural gas utility and distribution services for county facilities for facilities management for the 4-year period of October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2028, for a total contract amount not to exceed $1,400,046.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FMP 3824, recommendation for the approval of a contract to SNI Solutions, Inc. to furnish and deliver de-icing solids, 22 Eco Salt for facilities management grounds for the period of November 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2025, for a contract total amount not to exceed $96,320.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve PWP 002424, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Olson Roofing Company, Inc. for repair and replacement of roofing on Building 8 at the WGV treatment plant for the period of October 8th, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, for a total contract amount not to exceed $42,267.50.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve PWP 002524, recommendation for the approval of contract purchase order to Altorfer Industries, Inc. for a Caterpillar 910 front end wheel loader for the Woodridge Green Valley wastewater treatment plant for the period of October 8th, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, for a total contract amount not to exceed $156,130.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Zay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
And finally, I make a motion to approve PWP 002624, recommendation for the approval of an agreement between the County of DuPage, Illinois, and Strand Associates, Inc. for design services and bidding documentation consultation of the direct replacement of existing hot water boilers and biogas reuse evaluation at the Woodridge Green Valley wastewater treatment plant for the period of October 8, 2024 to November 30th, 2025, for a total contract amount not to exceed $170,400.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Garcia. We move on to stormwater and I'll call member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 24-24, approval of a contract issued to V3 for on-call drainage professional engineering services for stormwater management from October 8th, 2024, November 30th, 2025. The amount not to exceed $75,000.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Schwarzy. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 25-24, contract issued to Black and Veatch Corporation for professional engineering services for the Elmhurst Quarry High Wall Engineering Services from October 8th, 2024 through November 30th, 2025. The amount not to exceed $350,000.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member
Thank you,
Zay.
Chair.
We move on to technology and member Yu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on to EP 15-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to SHI International Corp. For the procurement of laptops, docks, and monitors for IT for the period of October 8, 2024 through November 30, 2024, for a contract total amount of $229,123.
Motion by member Yu, second by member Garcia. Member Zay seeking recognition. Go ahead, member Zay.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I know we got an explanation from the chair of the committee, but again, this is not in the technology packet. This is not in our packet. Is there any way we can get that list that was given out of who's getting these laptops, what the policy is to, I mean, it seems like it's Groundhog Day. I keep asking for this and it keeps not being put on the agenda. It keeps at least that email to the board members stating, here's the policy and here's what we're doing with all these laptops and monitors. Because, I mean, are we giving people who are working home monitors too?
We're not.
We're not.
So no, we're not. So
Okay.
only the.
Because it's almost 1,000 monitors in 2 years.
It is. So it's to either replace existing monitors. In some cases, they're dual monitors. So for the devices.
Okay.
So there's a few additional, and we do have the list. There are a total of 23 departments that will receive new laptops,
Okay.
monitors, and
Can we
associated
get
devices.
that? Could you email that
Absolutely.
to us?
We'll send
I
it
would
out to make,
greatly
we'll make
appreciate
it
it.
part
I'm
of
sure you
the,
don't want to hear me talk about this.
not a problem. We'll make it part of the packet going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Okay, Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Chaplin. So I totally understand laptops being, changed out every 4 years. I'm not so clear on why you have to change a monitor out every 4 years.
You don't. Typically, you don't have to change the monitor out every 4 years, but typically they come as a package. So we can look at separating it and, well, our new policy is actually to go with laptops. So going
Okay.
forward, we probably won't buy as many monitors when we purchase the new laptops. We're no longer moving in the direction of desktops.
Okay.
So you'll probably see a change in the future
Thank you,
because of that.
Thank you, Member Rutledge. Member Krajewski?
Yeah, I'm not sure. A package, a laptop comes with a monitor and a package?
No.
I don't have a monitor with this one I got.
No, it doesn't come with no, it doesn't come with it, but we include them because they serve as workstations now.
Well, I understand. I don't think they come as a packet. I
They
think-
don't come in package. Yeah.
It's,
Thank you, Member Krajewski. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Anthony, can you let us know, like, if there has been an increase in the number of monitors each people use, because I had 3 monitors and I needed all 3 of them. So that's just kind of a change in the way that people are working these days too. It's not like you only need 1 monitor anymore.
That is absolutely correct. So, and we can do an assessment of it, but again, in most cases, most laptops require dual monitors where you can see the, everything. So then like in the past where you have a single monitor.
Right. So I think that might also account for the increase in the number of monitors being ordered. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
To respond to members A, we're going to actually send the list out now so that you have a copy of it.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Yu?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on to EP 16-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Infor US Inc. for ERP software maintenance and support for IT for the period of November 13, 2024 through November 30, 2025, for a contract total amount of $247,856.83.
Motion by Member Yu, second by Member Desart. Any discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Member Yu.
Thank you.
We move on to transportation. I will call on Member Tornatori and Member Ozag's absence.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of DTP 48-24, a recommendation for the approval of a purchase order issued to Priority Products, Inc. to furnish and deliver weatherhead hydraulic fittings, hoses, and connectors as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period of November 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2025, for a contract total not to exceed $35,000. This is the first of 3 option renewals for bid award 2389 DOT.
Motion by Member Tornatori, second by Member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member Tornatori.
Madam Chair, I move approval of DTP 49-24, a recommendation for the approval of a contract to Ciorba Group, Inc. for professional Phase 1 preliminary engineering services for improvements along County Highway 40, College Road, and County Highway 17, Maple Avenue, Section 23-00250-02, County Highway, for a contract total not to exceed $290,142.24. Professional services, architects, engineers, and land surveyors vetted through a qualification-based selection process in compliance with the Local Government Professional Services Selection Act 50 ILCS 510/1 et sequitur.
Motion by Member Tornatori, second by Member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Tornatori.
Madam Chair, I move approval of DTR 37-24, an awarding resolution issued to Trigger Construction, Inc. for the County Highway 47 Illinois Prairie Path Carlton Avenue improvements, Section 23-00047-01 BT, for an estimated county cost of $394,472.65 per low bid.
Motion by member Tornatori, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Tornatori?
Madam Chair, I move approval of DTR 38-24, an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Illinois Department of Transportation for improvements along US 34 at Wolf Road at Saratoga Avenue and Main Street in Downers Grove, with a total estimated cost of engineering and construction of $1,131,612 and an estimated county cost of $12,794.
A motion by member Tornatori, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? Member Krajewski?
Where's Wolf Road?
Wolf
It
Road.
said along US 30 at Wolf Road.
Yeah, I know. It's off 55.
Says that
East of-
Saratoga. I mean, I understand where Saratoga and Main Street are.
Yeah, but where is Wolf? Yeah. Yeah.
So there's three intersections that IDOT is rebuilding. Only one of them actually touches the county system. It's 34 at Main and Downers Grove.
It says
So-
improvements along US 34 at Wolf Road at Saratoga Avenue.
Right there. That's
Oh,
correct.
so they're doing,
three intersections. The two in DuPage County are listed here. There's actually a third
okay.
in Cook County. The only one that touches DuPage County, we have one leg of one intersection. So we're paying 1/4 of the 20%, not federal. money.
Which, Saratoga or Main Street?
Main Street in Downers Grove,
So Saratoga's,
not ours.
is it, IDOT?
It's IDOT
It's like one block. over
it's
from Main
yeah,
Street.
it's IDOT and the local municipality.
Okay, yeah, because it's one block from Main Street. So the county's got Main Street and IDOT or the village has Saratoga.
Yeah, so the county has one leg of Main Street, Downers Grove has the other, and then IDOT has 34, and then Saratoga,
Is the village and
both legs are the village,
Village
and
of
then
Downers,
34 is IDOT.
and
Yeah,
Wolf Road. Okay.
Wolf Road is the one in Cook County.
Well, I kind of figured
Yeah,
that.
it's not.
Thank you, member Krajewski. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Tornatori?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of DTR 40-24, an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Illinois Department of Transportation for bridge aesthetic improvements on Illinois 38 and Illinois 53 with a total estimated cost of engineering and construction of $2,428,527 and an estimated county cost of $48,730.
Motion by member Tornatori, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member Tornatori?
Thank you, Madam Chair, I move approval of DTR 41-24, additional appropriation for impact fee service area 4 fund, Winfield Township Company, 1,500, Accounting Unit 3644, $200,000 for Fabian Parkway improvements, Section 800-210-03 FP.
I have a motion by member Tornatori, a second by member Desart. Member Rutledge. Okay. Member you seeking recognition?
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry, forgive my ignorance here, but this additional appropriation for impact fee service area 4 fund, is this like a new tax or is this just money coming out of our?
No,
general
this
fund?
is the money that's already been collected.
Oh.
And the right of way for Fabian Parkway kind of moved into the program. So we're trying to spend down that money that's already been collected.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you, member you, member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question. I believe under Chris Snyder, we talked about doing a little more native plantings around this intersection, and I'm just hoping that that doesn't get lost in the transition.
Understood.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Tornatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We move on to finance and member Krajewski.
Madam Chair, I move on FIR 0170-24, acceptance appropriation, additional funding and extension of time for the comprehensive law enforcement response to drugs grant, going from 150,000 to 187,500, increasing 37,500.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Schwarzy. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0171-24, acceptance of an extension of time for the DuPage County Health Department heroin opioid prevention education, in the amount of, this is just a grant.
Do I have a second? Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0173-24, acceptance appropriation of the DuPage Housing Authority Family Self-Sufficient Program in the amount of $127,812.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0175-2024, acceptance of an extension of time and appropriation of additional funding from our DuPage Animal Friends Foundation Coordinator Grant from going from 5,000 to 10,000.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0176-24, renewal of the group insurance programs.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Galassi. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0177-24, approval of an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the DuPage County Park Districts for the use of ARPA funds.
Motion by member Krajewski. Do I have a second by member Yu? Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And last, I move on FIR 0178-24, approval of a second amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the DuPage County Fire Protection Districts for the use of ARPA funds.
Motion by member Krajewski. Do I have a second? Second by member Yu. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. We move on to informational, and I'll call on member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to receive and place on file informational items: A, payment of claims; B, appointments; and C, grant proposal notifications.
I have a motion by member Krajewski, a second by member Garcia to receive and place on file items A, B, and C under informational. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Okay, we are finished with our business, and now we move on to our discussion, and we have our budget, 2025 budget presentation. So welcome back to the podium, Jeff.
Thank you, Chair Chaplin. We had a discussion at JPS, and we've always had decided to put additional budget discussion back on the finance agenda to give board members an opportunity to deep dive a little bit more after the chair rolls out her budget. We do have at this point the full budget on our website, including detail on every department, and that detail includes headcount, strategic goals, certain numbers of performance measures, and a detailed history on each of the departments. So we do take your comments into consideration and have kind of derived this presentation to answer some of those questions that we've received in the last 2 weeks after the chair's budget presentation. So what I want to do is start out with revenue and deep dive a little bit into revenue. So this is a breakdown of what we call some of our major revenues. And we've included 2 years of actual, the adopted budget for this current fiscal year, year-to-date actuals. What we project, the finance department does a lot of projections on revenue in conjunction with the departments who are responsible for collecting these revenues. And then a column basically showing the chair recommended and the percent increase from the 2024 budget. Sales tax, the next slide is really going to dive deep. You can go back, I'll get there. Dive deep into the sales tax budget, but we are budgeting 138 million. On property tax, a total budget of $26,512,700. We are not capturing and we are not recommending an increase to the CPI. The DuPage County Board has a long history of not increasing the property tax levy by the statutory CPI. We are just factoring in an increase for new construction. Our estimate is about $300 million. That should generate an additional $500,000 per year. That will, when the EAV increases, we probably will see a flat rate on the DuPage County property tax levy on the upcoming tax bills, or it may even decrease. So we do share some of this new money with the health department that's statutorily required. So if the new construction pans out, we should receive an additional $350,000 and the health department will receive an additional $150,000. County cannabis tax, we're proposing to keep that flat. This is something that has kind of leveled out over the past year and a half. Our receipts each month can differ from anywhere from $240,000 to about $265,000. It's my understanding that we may get some new additional dispensaries online in 2025. So conservatively, we think $3 million for both the use tax and the county's portion of cannabis is accurate still. On the income tax side, this is commonly referred to as LGDF. This is the personal income tax and corporate income tax receipts. We've done very well and projections continue to be very well. The Illinois Municipal League is the party really that does a deep dive on income tax. The county receives income tax based upon its unincorporated population of about 95,900 residents. The Municipal League determines a per capita rate. So we multiply that per capita rate by our unincorporated population, and we can get an estimate for 2024 and 2025. It's gone up a little bit. I will tell you that I didn't take full advantage of what IML said, just to be a little bit on the conservative side. I probably left off about $300,000 here, but we are projecting a income tax budget of about $16.35 million. The per capita rate, that takes into account all of the population that is part of LGDF and the anticipated receipts that LGDF will get. So you want our specific rate. I have that. Tax 173.05 for 2025. Okay. Personal property replacement tax. This is a tax, it's a complicated tax on S corps, LLCs, utilities. In 2021 and 2022, these corporations paid an estimated taxes, and then as I understand it, the law changed. So the amounts that were distributed were over allocated or overtaxed, if you will, by IDOR. They've done a true up in 2024 and 2025. That's why you see our receipts decreasing. So we had a big spike in PPRT in 2022 and 2023. Now it's come back and we're projecting a budget of about $4.5 million. Transfer stamps and recording fees. We have a total budget of about $5.3 million for both of those. You can see also the history of actuals that has decreased. That's really a function of the housing market. Couple 2-3 years ago, we had a lot of refinancings, a lot of sales of homes that slowed down. Those revenues haven't been as strong, and we have adjusted accordingly now in the last two budgets to see that decrease. Circuit court clerk earnings and the court GF fee. One thing that's happened here is the circuit court clerk has requested a budget for circuit court clerk earnings of 1.3 million and the court GF assessment fee of 9.6. In our recommended budget to the board and in discussions with the chair and member Krajewski and some other members of the board, we're seeing every month that our projections are higher in revenue than what we have budgeted. So we have increased the chair's recommended budget. We'll see if that comes into fruition during the fiscal year. But so far the receipts for these two revenue sources continue to remain strong. And then on investment income, if you look back at 2022, we're at 241,000 basically. With the increase in interest rates and probably some new investments at higher rates. The treasurer has estimated that total interest earnings in the general fund will be about $3.26 million. So the economic revenues continue to remain strong. There are some dips, obviously, you're going to have that within our total budget, but our current revenue base is there to support our ongoing expenses. So I want to look a little bit at sales tax. Sales tax, as everyone is aware, is approximately 55% of our total budget. It's obviously our largest revenue source. And this slide takes into consideration the actual receipts by month for 21, 22, and 23. In 2024, I think we estimated to be around $135 million, or about $135.9 million. We are upping that to 138 million. I think we're comfortable based upon what we're seeing monthly. If you take a look at the second to the last column, that shows our budget to actual for each month. And I want to pay particular attention to the last 2 months. You see in August that we had a decrease of $848,000. We were concerned about that, but what happened is in the following month that we just received yesterday, our receipts now are over budget by about $1.1 million. So what that tells me is there was probably a batch that was not processed the following month by IDOR. So they unintentionally made us nervous, especially me, for a month. And they trued that up in these receipts for September. So it looks like we record this, we are 3 months behind from the actual sale, the tax receipt, the actual sale. And that's the way the IDOR sends that to us. So by the end of the fiscal year, I don't think we're going to have any issues meeting budget and exceeding budget in sales tax. Let's see. Next slide, please. So this is kind of a recap of the chair's budget presentation. We've just heard some of your comments during the finance committee meeting about wanting to see budget to actuals. We can definitely provide that, but I think the takeaway here is, and I want to reiterate, this is elected official budgets, which some board members have asked to see. We've done a budget to budget for the last 3 years, and then we're showing what they've increased or decreased over the last 3 years. These numbers do not take into consideration the benefits. Remember, benefits in all general fund departments, IMRF, Social Security, health insurance, are budgeted in lump in a separate department or accounting unit. We don't budget specifically. So we've broken that out. And this is the true, I'll call it the true operating costs of each of these departments.
Okay, I'll open it up to questions.
Well, I got one more slide.
One more slide. Okay.
I'll make it quick. This is kind of a history of our income statement, our revenues and our expenditures. It shows how we've ended the fiscal year on the bottom. It's basically our bottom line in the general fund. We are now, remember, the board did 2 budget transfers utilizing the surplus. One was for animal services for $4.5 million. That's a transfer out. The other was for $10 million for a liability insurance transfer. We've now included that on the bottom as other financing uses transfers out. So you see those transfers going up in the current budget for 2024. So our projected surplus is approximately 10.8 million. Now, when I take a look at our revenues, those meeting expectations, probably going to be a little bit over budget. And then when we look at the totality of our expenses, in particular, salaries, we can be under budget in salaries and benefits anywhere from $5 to $7 million. We've talked about our operating accounts, contractual commodities and capital being under budget we do continue to see that trend. I know board members want to see an actual to budget, but what I can tell you is for those three categories, salaries, benefits, the five categories, salaries, benefits, commodities, contractual. If you took the actual to budget, you would see those line items in total being under budget. I can tell you that as part of 2025, after the chair sent out her memo to all departments saying to reduce your budget, we did start out the budget with a deficit of about $20.6 million. We did cut about $13.5 million. And the finance department, in conjunction with those departments, reduced expenses by about 13 million. We've cut approximately 150 line items, individual line items in each of the budgets. So that kind of is a recap of what was asked for in the last 2 weeks. Any board member that has additional information that they want, we're happy to provide that to them. Just reach out. And we are scheduled to approve the budget at finance, or it'll be the first reading, I should say. You will receive a series of resolutions and ordinances, including the property tax levy, approval of transfers, the appropriations, debt service, things like that. And then after finance, it's scheduled to be formally approved the second meeting in November, and that'll get us on our way for starting December 1st. Also, please keep in mind that all of the budgets are online. You can go onto the website, you can deep dive into them, and again, but we'll be happy to provide any other information that you may want. And that is all I have for now.
Great, thank you. So I'll open it up for questions. So Member Galassi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we go back to the slide before this one, please? Could we get this with the actuals?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. In fact, we'll have that out at the end of the day or tomorrow.
Thank you. Member Krajewski.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, for the presentation. And then, you know, the county's done a phenomenal job, I think, over the years as far as being fiscally responsible. And you mentioned the property taxes, everything's online, you know, at least since 2010, since I've been here, and I know it goes prior to that. Used to always just levy a flat dollar amount, and a couple of years in the last 14 increased it with growth. But I know we used to have in the budget presentation, I think we should probably put it online, let the presidents know. Whatever our total is, 60-some million dollars between us, the health department, is what we've been levying pretty consistently, 65 million. If we would have done like almost every single municipality and every single school district and just levied the CPI, I know this goes back a few years ago, our property taxes here at the county would be $400 and some million if we would have done the CPI every year, like almost every single municipality in DuPage and every single school district does. But we have at the county, but I think everybody should know, is just levied that same dollar amount, 65 million, a couple times in the last few years we've done the growth. So 65 million compared to if we'd have done like everybody else, we'd be collecting $400 million in property tax. And I don't think a lot of the residents realize that. And I know we've had presentations in the past showing all the municipalities and the schools and what their increases in property taxes are by CPI. And we have chosen not to do that for the last 20 or 30 years. And that number would be 400 and some million today, which I think is important to let people know.
Yeah, the share of DuPage County's property tax bill is 2% of the total. So it's a $350,000 home. It's about $150 a year.
Okay, any other member to start?
Thank you. I just have a request. Thank you for your presentation, Jeff. My request is on this slide right here. Member Galassi asked for a column for actuals. And as long as you're adding a column, I was wondering if you can put a column in there for what the request is. Because we, like, for example, we see the chair's recommended and we see the budget from last year, but I'd like to see what the each department requested for this year. Can you add that column?
Absolutely.
All right,
So
thank you.
right now, we'll take, the comments into consideration. So what I'm hearing is we want to go back 2 years or 3 years? Do you want 2022, the actuals to budget? You want to go back 3 years? And then
Oh, I'm just
requested?
asking what the departments are requesting for 2025.
Yeah, specifically though,
So regarding the actuals, Member Galassi?
yeah, but is this information? Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, thank you. Member Krajewski?
And the one thing I've been trying to get for a while now, I think it's the first slide. I just want to know the last 4 years, what the actual budget we approved in November, like the one we're getting ready to approve now. And then what we actually finished at, both on the revenue side and the expense side. Because again, after you just talked about 14 million of transfers out, we still got another 12 or 13 million. We're gonna have like $28 million surplus again this year from what we adopted last year. And last year we were talking about spending money in this current year's budget to take pressure, or spend it, in 23 to take pressure off this current year. So we spent a bunch of money the year before to take pressure off of this year, but yet we came in this year at a $28 million surplus. And I know people have head counts, but you do not budget 100% of salaries anyways. So either even head count, we're not even doing 100%.
Right.
And if we're still having short, maybe and that goes back to the head count. You said that that's up online. Are we putting online like the last 5 years actual and?
Not 5.
Or 4, whatever, but
Yeah.
you're showing the actual head count and then the budgeted head count?
Yeah, actual head count?
Yeah, I think it's on there.
So in each department, you'll see that information.
Well, no,
But we could put together
I'm just saying, I don't know if we want to put it out to the public, but you send it to all the board members, but we can look at departments that have had 5, 8 or 9, but 5 consistently open headcount for 5 or 6 years. And I know we're not funding them, but it's like, why don't we try to adjust it to what it should be? We have a heck of a lot of open headcount that have been open for many, many, many years. I'm not even sure. I guess it doesn't do anything if we cut it because we don't fund it anyways. I just don't know why we don't try to get to a more realistic number, what it actually is.
So that's going to be a policy decision for the entire board.
I mean, we might as well just throw 10 more head count out there. It doesn't matter. We don't fund them, but it's like, why don't we try to get to what it actually is?
Thank you, Member Krajewski. Member Cahill?
Yes, thank you, Jeff, for your presentation. I had a question about the personal property replacement tax. So if you look at the actual in 2022, it's 10.4. So what we are budgeting this year is 4.5. That's like $5.5 million less. And I understand that personal property replacement tax are revenues collected by the state of Illinois and paid to local governments to replace money that was lost by local governments when their powers to impose personal property taxes on corporations, partnerships, and other entities were abolished. So is this a state of Illinois reduction that the state came up with that we are now allocated $5.5 million less?
It's Brian is, right, Brian.
The old Cindy?
Brian's good at taxes.
It's the PTE tax.
I know what it is, but
but
I mean,
no,
why is it less?
Because the PTE tax that they just implemented for corporations is flow through for shareholders and partners. That's the individual side. The state refunded that to all of us.
Okay.
And so they made a mistake, basically. They paid out that personal, the PTE that was paid on behalf of shareholders and partners on the corporate, so you get around the SALT cap.
Okay.
And so then the state paid that out to us on a per population basis and said, oh, wait a second, that's not the personal replacement tax. That's the payments for the shareholders. And now they're taking it back.
Okay.
And so we're not going to know what that number is really going to be till they get it all back. But that was the individual shareholders' taxes that were
Okay.
paid.
All right, I understand. Second, income tax. So that allocation, isn't the municipal league trying to get us a certain rate, like 10% or something, and we are still below that?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I meant when I asked for the rate, but I didn't want to interrupt your presentation.
Oh, that rate, yeah.
Yes.
We used to get, I think, 10% we were sharing of the total,
Yes, yeah.
including the county. The mayors and managers have been very vocal. When there was a reduction, it reduced us down, I believe, to about 6.4%.
Okay.
And then it was reinstituted, as I understand it, and we never got back up to the former amount that we had for sharing. So the mayors and managers have been working with the state legislature. Not sure, I don't know if that has any traction. It
Okay.
didn't, it failed in the last state budget.
Okay, thank you. And one last question. The grocery tax reduction, where are we seeing that? Through the sales tax?
Yes, but remember, the grocery tax for the
Yes.
county is only in the unincorporated.
Right. So what was it? What did you estimate that to be? 400 to 600,000?
Yeah, but I'm just not seeing any reductions to it. Like when it was suspended last year, our sales tax kept increasing. So I really didn't factor in,
What that would have
yeah,
been?
yeah, because all signs show, if everything remains consistent, that we're still going to be around 138 million.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
We just don't have a lot of volume for the grocery tax, which is a good thing because we're really not going to lose a lot of money.
Thank you, Member Cahill. So I have Member Garcia, Member Eckhoff, and then Member Galassi. Member Garcia?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for your presentation today. I really appreciate it. And I was looking on the website as you're kind of doing it too. And a lot of the actuals are on the website. You've got everything specifically laid out that I'm looking for. So I want to thank you and the staff for all the hard work you're doing on that. So that's all I wanted to say. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Garcia. Member Eckhoff?
Do we have a list of the items that were requested to be in the budget and that were cut?
We can get that for you.
I'm just curious as to who asked for what, and the answer was no. And then the fund balance, what's that going to be set at?
The fund balance is going to continue to remain strong.
25%?
You're going to be around 45%.
45?
Yeah. Yeah, 46%, actually almost 50%. If projections stay where they are for 2024.
And how long has it been?
And
like
then
that?
46% for this proposed budget, 2025. It's been in the 40 percentile for quite some time.
Yeah, the usual is what recommended is about 25.
Our policy says 25%. However, because we're so dependent on sales tax, I think there's a level of comfort that stays a little higher in case sales tax takes a big dip all at once.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Member Eckhoff. Member Galassi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Jeff, I don't know if you answered this, but I just want to ask the question again. You said the income tax sharing was 10%. It went down to 6.4. Is it still 6.4? I thought it
Yes.
had creeped up a little bit. Or
It minuscule. There
Okay.
were changes in the law that happened 4 or 5 years ago, or the rate that was done by the state, but we basically stayed flat from the first reduction
Oh, okay.
that the state
Understood.
did.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the committee? I just had two questions. The investment rates, the interest from the investments rates, was part of that increase from our ARPA funds? Because you showed like 2022, it was like 250, 200 and,
That's in the ARPA fund, all that
okay,
interest.
okay,
So two separate funds. This is only the general fund portion.
okay. So that really increased a lot.
Yeah, the interest rates.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, good on that. And then also just a question on the cannabis tax. When we have it in the budget, and I haven't had a chance to look at that line item, but you're showing the two separate line items in
there
the
is.
budget for each. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All righty. Yes, and hey, just one sec. I just wanted to, and as Member Garcia said, if you do go look at the budget book, because I've been looking at the book, it's so easy to use. You can click right on like the elected official, look at the office. It'll give you the years. It does give the actuals. It does give the current. So it's a great tool to use. And I know it takes a little bit of time, but that's what we have to do. So thank you. And then Member Cahill, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I wanted to follow up with that interest because you brought up a very good point. One of the reasons why the interest increased is because we took 10 million in surplus, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we took that 10 million and we put that in an interest bearing account now. So that's going to be earning interest, We took that 10 million to pay down that unfunded growing liability. So anyway, that is earning interest, and that interest will be used to pay the expenses coming from that.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good, so great. All right. Oh, Member Krajewski?
Last thing, maybe we could just get how many new cannabis are coming online. I mean, they're constructing the one in Westmont right now, so if there's three
Okay.
or four, I mean, they're generating about 300,000 a piece, so that may change that number.
Reach out to our building and zoning staff and see.
Because I don't think any, that we had like 10, and I don't think any new ones have actually opened. I think there's a few pop getting ready to, or maybe one or two have. So I know all those new licenses that come out, and if we have 5 or 6 more, then I think we're gonna have several hundreds of thousands of dollars more.
Good. Okay. Well, I'll reach out to the development staff, see if they've heard anything.
Nick, did you want to say something?
We go to the last slide, please.
I got
there was a lot of, I know we have a hard out at 9:30, but since we have a little bit of time, I'd like to maybe talk surplus. There was a lot of good discussion before. You can see the number here where we're at after the obligations that the board has already gone through. You're looking at a projected surplus at the end of this year of 10.6 million. And I know we will have more discussion on that, but I did want to remind everybody that during the chair's presentation at the last meeting, there was a lot of discussion on various surplus items. And I know the chair is here and she can actually talk about those to kind of recap some of those for you.
Thanks, Nick. Good morning, everybody. So when we're talking about surplus, I want you guys to know clearly where we're at. So there's an estimated $10.6 million. We are wanting to pay forward at $3 million for facilities management, 1 million for vehicle replacement, 1 million toward the stormwater quarry repair, which I just saw the other day, by the way. Wear a hard hat. Flood protection for the campus, $1 million, which leaves reserves to put $1 million into our reserves. So that's $7 million. We have a remaining $3.6 million. We are also hoping to be forward thinking and help out animal services and loan them the $4.5 million so they don't have to get higher interest from the banks, from bonding. It's part of the budget. Oh, okay, you already did that. Okay, it's already, okay. Okay, so those are the things we're proposing, and that gives us $3.6 million. And did you have questions about the surplus, Brian? Somebody? Okay, okay.
Member Zay, did you have a comment or question?
No, we're using surplus money for IT, and we didn't really know much about that, so, and that wasn't on your list either, so. So that's,
IT?
okay, so we have 3.6 million.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not encumbered.
Okay, Member Desart. Yeah, I see you.
Thank you,
I can
thank
see
you,
from
thank
this
you.
angle. I can
Thank
see
you,
what the
Madam
chair
Chair.
can't see you.
I was just wondering, I've been in some of these discussions through my work on public works, vehicle replacement, the quarry, flood protection, reserves is obvious. But what about $3 million for facilities? What is that?
So historically, for probably the past 4 or 5 years, that's how we funded the capital, the daily capital, repairing, replacing escalator parts. We have always done that well before even the chair came here. We see where we sit, and then we put the capital money, and it's about 3 million a year is what we need to just stay even. We put that into the capital fund for facilities, and then we do not have a yearly budget in there. So, and eventually there will be a time when this county can't afford that, and that is where the balancing point is. But when we have the money available, that's how we fund the capital needed. And that's not new projects, that is maintaining what we have. That's the 3 million we need to just simply exist.
Okay, thank you. And I certainly want our campus to be the best it can be. It just seems to me that we put a ton of ARPA funds and CARES Act money into the campus already.
Thank you, Member Sar. And I think we put a lot of money into the infrastructure at the campus because for so long we hadn't, and we really needed to make those improvements and we hadn't had the opportunity. It might have, if we did it prior, we might have had a bond out or something for it. So we just put it off. And I mean, thank goodness we got those funds to be able to do that. So I think that's why you saw those large investments. Member Glassy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So am I understanding right that we then still have 3.6 of 2024 surplus we haven't allocated?
Yes.
Is that, I don't know exactly what was asked for that you weren't able to allocate money to with the 2025 budget. Can we utilize that 3.6 for some of those items that were declined?
A little bit tricky because it's 24 money. You can use it for capital, you can use it for one-time expenses, but you can't use it for operational. So it's going to, I mean, if you don't do anything with it, it's going to automatically roll into reserves. But remember the difference between the one-time, the capital, and that's where you've got to use this for. I mean, if you wanted to put more money in stormwater, more money in flood proofing, things like that, one-time expenses, buy something, you can do that. But you can't do programmatic improvements with that money.
Thank you.
Thank you. Member Krajewski?
A summary, Jeff, at some point, just with how much we have in these different reserves. And we've got our general fund reserve, but then what's in capital, what's in tort, what's in the vehicle replacement, just to see what's in those pots.
It's on mine.
All right.
Yeah, we'll have it sent out, right, but it is on
I was
mine.
just say, it's just like we have like 8 pots, just how much we have in each one of those pots. Maybe we just- No, just not pots. pot, yeah.
Okay, do we have any other questions on the budget presentation?
Is there anything you can do with the new building across the street currently?
What do you mean?
CRC?
Oh,
Is there anything you can do? I mean, we gotta spend it by the end of the year
talking about the additional?
for the 3.8. Is there any like stuff that we can?
As far as the buildings we have, I mean, obviously animal services is
Yeah,
getting
well, that
close
was
to
done, but I'm
completion.
talking
I
about
know,
across the
I'm
street.
running through it. They're good. Care Center, they are funded and they have the reserve to do the balance. CRC at this point, as far as we know, is funded, but I know they are going to be coming and doing a presentation. And they'll make that pitch at that point.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll ask again. Any other questions? All right. So just as a reminder, we are scheduled to pass the budget out of finance at the end of October, our last meeting in October. Okay, so, and I know staff would be more than welcome if you have questions to just email them in, pick up the phone. I know they're more than willing to address your questions. So, all right. Thank you all for your discussion today. Do we have any old business? Do we have any new business? Okay, without objection. Oh, Member Zay?
Yeah, I thought Member Schwarzy was going to talk about these grant recipients. And again, we didn't get a list of anybody who was getting stuff. So, I mean, but we're going to meet them at 9:30, Joan. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to go in there and say, hey, congratulations, but we didn't know anything about it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Zay. Okay, any other old or new business? Okay, without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.